me and Pablo have some ideas on how to improve EON-XR. So we're just going to deliver a quick presentation and you guys can give it a watch later and tell us what you think. So let me just present my screen. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So first of all, there's two issues we want to address that both Pablo and me talked about more or less from the start since we started using the app. First of all, we think the user interface is too complicated. There's too much going on in the app. I think it looks like too corporate and needs a more simplistic look to it. And an example I'm giving is like Duolingo. If you've ever used Duolingo, the app to learn languages, I think it's a good example to go off of because it's a learning app. It's not like you're comparing it with a video game or a social media, which is more easier to get like addicted to. But Duolingo does a very good job at, it has obviously millions of users and a lot of traffic. And it's not, I mean, it is a learning app. So it's a little harder to keep people interested in learning rather than like scrolling or playing a game. And so that's the first issue. I think we need to make it look more simple. As soon as you log into the app, you have all these courses, all these menus, and I think it makes it a little hard to navigate. Second issue is it has to have more of a purpose to it, right? Right now you have this AI that can create all these incredible courses like on the fly within minutes, which is amazing. But especially for learning, I think having a structure is very important. So, you know, if you've ever used Duolingo, you have a roadmap with like steps where you obviously start at the basics, like how to say hello and goodbye. And then as you progress, you start filling these circles with progress and you get to the more advanced stuff. So I think that's kind of the focus me and Pablo were talking to achieve. We want to have, as soon as you log into the app, the avatar asks you what you want to learn. So for example, I say, I want to learn how to code. And it asks you several more questions to make it more tailored for you. And then it can create this roadmap. AI can do this for you as well. We found a few tools that could help us. It creates this roadmap where instead of you just having access to all these thousands of online or these AI courses, or even create your own, you have more of like steps towards a final goal, which is like being able to code with a certain proficiency. So some proposed solutions are, well, obviously the roadmap, but in addition to this, we want to implement the gamification of learning, this process that Duolingo has mastered, because it makes you want to use it and keep using it like it was a video game. So you have streaks, you have a shop where you can buy power-ups, stuff like that. So you have this idea of progress that comes from the roadmap, but you also have this idea of rewards and like learning gives you something more than just learning to keep people interested, especially at the start, because once you're in it for a certain number of weeks, then it's easier for you to keep going. But especially the first 3 or 4 weeks is that essential time frame where you really want to keep people engaged. And then the starting process, like I talked about, to have that tailored roadmap made for you. The avatar asks you certain questions, and Pablo designed some mock-up screenshots of how this could look, but it's still like very rough work. So obviously we could make it look however you guys want it to, and we can come up with some more structured ideas. But essentially it asks you what you want to learn. So for example, mathematics, what your current level is and where you want to be at. So it creates that starting point and that ending point. And then for example, what frequency you want to learn with, so I can do 20 hours a week, stuff like that, to just make it as tailored to your own experience as you possibly can. And then finally, the app layout, we'll go over that with some of the mock-up screenshots as well. And finally, implementation. So how we would implement this, because it's obviously a pretty big change to the current product. And I know big changes cost time and they cost money, and everyone has to be on board. But I really think this could be an interesting step forward for EON. And some AI tools we found online, so we could outsource some of the processes. For example, Wisdom Plan, the first tool listed, it creates a plan for you, like this kind of roadmap that I talked about, and you put in similar parameters that I talked about. So for example, your goal, your background, your preference, how much time, and stuff like that. And it comes up with a roadmap of like where you want to start. The first thing you want to learn, for example, with mathematics is algebra, if you already have like a high school level of maths, right? And then another interesting tool, I think, this is a little side note, but Grok Chat is like an incredibly fast AI chatbot. I know some people on the development team were complaining. A bug that was recurring was that sometimes the avatar got hung up, especially on more complicated answers. So I think we could use this at some points in EON-XR just to make sure it's a little more seamless. And yeah, that's the gist of the presentation. Just made it as brief as I could. I know you guys both have tight schedules, and I'll hand it over to Pablo so he can share some of the screenshots with you.
So we just did some rough mockups of let me just share my screen, of how we think the app could look like. It's like very early version, but it's more to see the functionality more than the view and everything. So you start at the normal EON-XR login and everything. And then straight away, you have the avatar with you. He says, "Hi there, user. Welcome to EON-XR. Let me ask you a few questions. First of all, is there something specific you'd like to learn?" So this is what Juan mentioned. If there's something you just want to get straight into it and just make a roadmap of, you can insert your topic here. But also, there's a lot of users that don't want the avatar along with them the whole time, so you can just press no thanks. I'd like to browse by myself. So if you press this, sounds good. I hope you enjoy EON-XR. I'll be here if you need anything. So you can just use the app without the avatar, but then there's the option to just click him and ask him anything with the chatbot that Juan mentioned and just have him along with you. And then to the main changes, we have the bottom here. We think if you start in the Explore tab, it's a lot simpler. You don't have that much stuff popping up at you, like the followers and everything on top here. And this is pretty much just the marketplace, but we just changed the name a bit. So it feels like there's less kind of commitment. You can just look around, you can click on stuff. You don't have to go into anything so specifically. And then once you have looked at the stuff here a little bit, you can see here we have the roadmap that Juan mentioned. So after the user uses the app for a bit, they start learning different topics. Here is a generated a roadmap. Obviously, this is a rough drawing of it. There will be text mentioning each lesson here and everything. But yeah, here you can see your progress in the different topics you start learning. Green would be the completed lessons, the stuff you've already done. Orange will be attempted lessons, and red will be lessons you haven't started yet. And here there will be the AI component. Wow, I see you've made great progress in the mechanics topic. Would you like to learn more about molecular mechanics? So it's recommending the next lesson you could learn. It's kind of bringing you to use the app more. And then again, if you don't want to, you can just say no thanks. Feel free to look around your roadmap. Hopefully you learned something new today. But if you say yes, please, okay, molecular mechanics sounds something amazing, I want to learn it. It just takes you straight to the lesson. You just get straight to work on that, and yeah, it directs you there. And then on the other way, if you do want to insert your own topic, so you can just type, okay, yeah, I actually want to learn about molecular mechanics. You can just press here, and this is the custom thing that Juan mentioned. Molecular mechanics sounds interesting. What would you say is your current level in this topic? So I'm a complete beginner, some experience, intermediate knowledge, and I'm an expert. So if you already have some type of level, you can skip the basics. Imagine if you say intermediate knowledge, what level of learning would you like to reach within molecular mechanics? So I'm already pretty high level, so just advanced techniques, and I'd like to pursue a professional career within this. Just go next. Great, thank you for letting me know. Here's your personalized roadmap with the different topics to learn to reach your goals. Zoom in to view the specific lessons and topics generated, advance in progress at your own pace. So you can see the root of it becomes the topic you chose, and obviously this would branch out to the different parts of molecular mechanics. And you can just advance in this way. And we feel like this brings an actual purpose and an incentive to come back to the app. If you see, okay, I've actually done really well in this branch of molecular mechanics, I really want to finish it now, and then get started on the other ones. Because now you can just get like one random lesson about something, and great, you learn a lot about that, but you don't know where to go from there. You don't know where you started. And we feel like this brings a lot of purpose to it. And then finally, the next change we thought was making a separate tab for the experiences. So Juan and I feel like the experiences are something amazing for that. Their potential is amazing, but we feel like having it in a little plus here, it's hidden by the avatar, but having a little plus kind of puts it to the side, makes it seem like a secondary feature. And by having the own experience tab, it feels like the user can just go in and just make something themselves without having to look for it. It's just right here. You can just start. So yeah, and we thought about separating the experiences by guided experiences. So it's when you click on Metaverse Builder, the one on the left that create experiences, and the roleplay experiences. So just to have like some categories. And yeah, from here you can just see all the ones you have created. There's like a whole tab designed for what you've done, and the Explorer would be what everyone else has done. And then yeah, the profile would be the same. Everything here is the same as before. And yeah, that was mainly the big thing: the roadmap, the experiences, and having the avatar along with you everywhere. So yeah, I think that's everything for the mockups. Thank you for your time, Dan and Anna, and Jan as well. I hope you take our changes into consideration.